Rebecca, and welcome back to TaylorMade Cards for You. Well, today I'm here to share with you another Christmas card using a set that I picked up earlier in the year, and this is Investor 6. And this is the set that has the sleigh and the mechanical Santa. And I don't have too many of these Inventor stamps, but I really like this one, especially for some of my holiday cards. And as you can see, I haven't even used it yet. So with the holidays rapidly approaching, I thought it was time to go ahead and dirty up this stamp and make a couple of Christmas cards. And I thought I would go ahead and tape it along the way. And then this is a set that is an oldie, but it is Calendar 2. And I purchased Calendar 2 versus Calendar 1 because I wanted to have the December holiday calendar. And what's really lovely about this set is you have October, November, which are your holiday months, and then you also have July in there. So the only month that you don't have is February. And I wish that they sold these calendar stamps individually, but unfortunately they don't. So at some point I'll probably have to invest in the Calendar 1 set, but I might be using this one as well. I have used it on a few of my cards already, but let's see if we can incorporate it into this card as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so my idea was to use these stamps as a background, and then I was going to stamp them again to have some of these little images pop up. But I wanted the background to be really subtle, so I thought I would use the pumice stone. And I went ahead and I tested it on the sleigh, and it's exactly what I wanted as far as the color. It's subtle enough where it's not going to overtake it when I start popping up some of the images, but it's going to create a nice background. And then I'm hoping to come in with my antique linen to kind of distress the card and make it look a little bit old. So let's see if we can accomplish that. So as you can see, I went ahead and I stamped the sleigh. So let's go ahead and get the Santa stamped here. And I am using my Tim Holtz stamping platform. I know these aren't available anymore, but I was fortunate to be able to get one when they were available. So I like to drag it out and use it every once in a while. And I actually have a second one because I knew that these would no longer be available. So I went ahead and I got an extra one when they were discontinuing them at Tuesday morning. So I can have one just for my stash. So that's kind of how I roll. I know if I like something and it's getting discontinued, I've learned to buy it while it's available. Because with some of these craft items, once they get discontinued, you can never get them again. So I figured better be safe than sorry, and I went ahead and I just invested in the two. And getting it at Tuesday morning, which is a discount store, made it even better because I was able to get it at a nice price. So I'm inking up my image, as you can see, and just giving it some nice pressure, and it's a perfect stamp. So I'm going to go ahead and put this aside here, and then we're going to need to get some more paper to cut out some of these smaller images. So let's put these aside and get some more paper and work on those. Okay, so for the smaller pieces, I'm not going to necessarily need to stamp the whole image because I'm just looking to get these smaller images. So I'm going to go ahead and try to be somewhat strategic here. To go ahead and get my Santas. And when I'm inking these up, I'll just make sure that I don't ink up every part of it. So just trying to figure this out here. Okay, I think that probably will work. And because I'm going to be coloring these, I want to go ahead and use some Copic friendly ink. And for that, I'm going to just use my archival. Actually, I changed my mind. I'm going to use Memento because this is a little bit newer and I want to make sure I get a nice crisp image. All right, so we're going to ink up our Santas here. And I'm going to be fussy cutting these. So I don't necessarily need to ink up the entire stamp, right? And then let's go ahead and get some of this ink off here. All right. So just putting some nice pressure on this. And as you can see, my images came out really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and put that aside to dry. And then let's go ahead and stamp the other side. Now for this one, I'm going to use, I think, just this image right here. So I'll go ahead and place it here. And again, using my Tuxedo Black Memento ink. Putting some nice pressure to make sure I get a crisp image. I'm not worried about that little part there because again I'm going to be fussy cutting it. So I just want to make sure my images are nice and crisp. And then we can start coloring it up. Okay, so I went ahead and I colored up the sleigh, and I also stamped out one of these calendars. And as you can see, the calendar does have some nice vintage tones, and this was a very easy technique. I just took some of my antique linen and I just kind of brushed it onto my paper. It's very randomly. And then what I do after that is I will spritz it, dab it, and then if I'm in a hurry, I'll add a heating tool. Otherwise, I'll just put it aside to dry. And then when it dries, I stamp it. And that's why you have some of these little imperfections in the middle. So that works out really nicely. So let's go ahead and see if we can put this card together. So I used one of my dies, and the die that I had wasn't quite large enough to fit this. So a little trick that I use is I'll put the die and then I'll run it through my machine halfway, and then I'll turn it around, adjust the die to come up a little bit higher, and then run it through the other half. And you can do it with a die like this because the edge is not perfect to begin with. I mean, as you can see, a little bit cut right there. But it gives me that really random edge that I love. All right, so let's go ahead and add some color to this. And I'm just going to use some of my antique linen and just come in just really lightly just to give it some color. I'm not trying to be too perfect. I just don't want it to be a white card. So just kind of adding some color randomly. And then if you wanted to, you could even darken up the edges. So let's go ahead and take some of our vintage photo and or it's not vintage photo, this is walnut stain, and we'll darken up some of these edges here. And that way we'll get a little bit of a pop. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get our layers here. I'm gonna go ahead and distress up the edges of this just by using my distressing tool. And then we can go ahead and layer the card. Now I decided to use 2 layers because after I had cut out my image, I had too big of a border, so I wanted to go ahead and just frame it a little bit tighter, and that's why I decided to add this lighter color of paper just to help frame it. And then I'll come in with the focal point of our card here. Okay. All right. And as you can see, it's just a little bit of a tighter frame. And I just think it looks better. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and we'll pop up our sleigh here. And as you can see, the background is very subtle, and that's exactly what I was going for. So we'll just use some of our foam dots here. And I'm going to be somewhat generous because I don't want my sleigh to be coming off. This is going to be one of my Christmas cards I'll be sending out, so I want to make sure the sleigh doesn't end up loose in the card when it travels to its destination. And I think one more will do it. Okay. So here is my sleigh popping up. And then I'm going to come in with some ephemera. Now I know I'm going to use this, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and add my Santa here. Okay, so I did find a smaller Santa, but actually I think I'm going to go with the larger one. And then look at this cute little girl I found. She kind of works perfectly with this sleigh, and I kind of messed up with my coloring, so I think I'm going to try to just cover that up with her. And that's the nice thing about ephemera, is you can cover up your boo-boos. So let's go ahead and get her added to cover up my coloring mistake. And it kind of looks like she's trying to sneak a ride with Santa. All right, so let's stick her right there. And like I said, I think I'm going to go with the larger Santa. And we'll add some foam dots for him. And then this is going to actually just get layered. So let's put this down. And I kind of like the pop of color, so I think we'll add a little bit more. And I know with layering, some of you guys hate covering up your images, but remember that stamp is intended to be a background stamp. So don't fret when you're actually covering up, because that's not the focal point, that's just the background. And then we'll add some of our foam dots. Okay. And place our Santa. And then let's go ahead and pop a little bit more color here with some of these smaller ephemera pieces, just because I like the way that pop of color looks. It doesn't even have to be perfect. Just gonna put that there. And then I had this little hand. Why? I don't know. Just, I like balance. So let's go ahead and put the hand up there, pointing. Sometimes it's just fun to add extra pieces. And that might do it. Let's see if we have anything else that needs to be added. I don't know. I think that might do it. What do you think? I think it looks pretty good. I don't want to cover the entire background, right? But we can at least go ahead and get some pops of color here. All right, and then all you need to do is put this on a card base and you're good to go. So I hope that you've enjoyed this idea using the stamp set Inventor 6. I know this isn't a newer stamp set, but sometimes we forget about these older stamp sets and how wonderful they are. And I wanted to just kind of give you an idea, if you do have this set in your stash, an idea for a Christmas card. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll put the Santa together off screen, and then I'll come back at the end of the video with some pictures for you. So as always, if you've enjoyed my video, I'd sure appreciate a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I think I only have one more video left in my Christmas series. If I have time, I'll go ahead and I'll tape another one. But I want to go ahead and get started on some of my cards for next year. And I am going to have a challenge blog in 2021 where you guys can share some of your creations and your cards. So I've been working on that. So there'll be more information on that as we get closer to the end of the year. All right, everybody, don't forget to stick around for the pictures at the end of the video, and we'll see you again next time.